man, there ain't no stress and no second guess, and a man can't test him, you know, with Sean Paul, the girls, I'm overall of a standing tall. I'm here to big up the sales engineers of New York, you know what I mean? Yeah, mad people think you don't know it, go. You have all been great members of SENY founders. The founders wanted to wish you all an awesome year. You guys see my reading is crap, right? But big up on yourself. Enough love and respect you. Now, this has been a hard year for everybody. I just want you to remain positive and also stay safe. You know what I mean? We're going to party just like this. Hey, yo! Well, I'm on the way to time cold. I want to be keeping you warm. I got the right temperature for shelter you from the storm. Hold on, girl, I got the right tactics to turn you on. And girl, I want to be the papa, you can be the mom. Oh, oh, bless them. Hey, yo, so next year, look out. Seeing the next evolution of SENY is here. Seeing 2021.
All right. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining. Thank you. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are. I'm Nick Masters. I'm part of the Sales Engineers of Boston team, and we want to get with you a little bit tonight to talk about a few things. I can promise you 4 things. Not going to sing, not going to rap, and I'm not going to dance, and you're going to learn a lot, so you should be happy about that. So I want to get with you on what Sean Paul's getting at today. What we're here to announce, and we're here to announce SE Nation. This is going to be our big initiative going into next year. But before I get into what SE Nation will be and what it is, let's go through a little bit of some of the observations that we've seen over the last 12 months. So let's get into our update. So we've seen tremendous growth and interest in the SE field across the world. SENY has been able to grow what they've had, build out a community, build out a network, and take those best practices to other cities. Sales Engineers of Boston has been able to grow that out, extending to Toronto, to DC. We've seen incredible growth across major cities. And what we're finding is that we're seeing a wide range of sales engineering experience, which is terrific. Anybody from people getting into the sales engineering organization to those who are junior in their career, all the way to people leaders, their directors, senior directors, and VPs who are part of this group. And that's giving a great drive for mentorship. Being a mentor, being a mentee, and being able to understand how you can continue to grow your career is exactly the type of thing that we're trying to find people to have ownership in their cities on. And we're increasing the engagement across Slack, across LinkedIn, and making sure that we're having an opportunity to still stay connected in this digital world. Everything that we've done thus far between SENY, between Toronto and DC and Boston has been a strong focus on those in-person events. And this is a great opportunity to be able to pivot a little bit of that into the digital world until we're ready to get back in the room with each other. And we've had a lot of continuity requests, a lot of interest in making sure that we can grow these into all the other major cities, which is exactly why we're going ahead and kicking off something like SE Nation. And let's get into exactly what SE Nation is going to bring to everybody next year. Our mission is to cultivate a premier network of local SE communities. So what does that mean? This is the value that we're thinking about and we're focusing on, and we're going to need everybody's help to be a stakeholder in this drive. We want global planning and continuity. We want to make sure SE Nation is a board of advisors to take the best practices and see what we've done across all these other major cities, help you with branding, help you with webinars, help you with making sure that you have a place on the website and building out your logo so there's continuity. But what we want is we're calling in action to the people on this call right now. If you're part of a city that needs representation for your SE field, we want you to be your local champion. So get with us, connect with us, and we're going to coach you through how to go ahead and do that fast. And this is a great opportunity in this environment to make sure that you have the time to prepare that. So when we get back into a state of normalcy and we're all ready to see each other in person, you're going to have all the things you need to have and the resources and tools and funding and networking sponsors to make sure that you can have that happen. So we're looking for people to be a local champion. If you're not part of Toronto, if you're not part of DC, Boston, or New York today, and you're in a different city, let's talk and let's figure out how you can be a local champion on the sales engineering industry in your city, as well as the technical footprint around your city and how that's growing. And then the city growth platform. We've done this multiple times. We've been able to grow it through multiple different cities. This is a repeatable process that we're going to have a playbook for on how to stand up your city and make sure that you have opportunities to grow the people around you for your network. So how do you get in touch with us? Let's go to the next slide here. And if you haven't already, go log into our Meetup, go log into our Slack, and make sure that you're connected on LinkedIn so that you can follow all the good content that's being published by all the other cities out there. This is an opportunity for you to be a stakeholder in SE Nation and be able to learn, and we can learn from you on how to continue the best practices across the world. And I emphasize the word world, right? Because this is a nation, this is a global community that we want to make sure that we're growing in the major cities. And that is a transition to exactly the thing that we want to continue to cultivate. So I want to introduce Mick. Mick is going to announce today, and he's going to introduce himself on the sales engineers of Sydney. So Mick, I'll pass it off to you. Welcome.
Thanks very much, Nick. And good evening and good morning to those of you who actually signed in from Australia. I'm really excited. My name is Mick Shafarostov. Just call me Mick, please. I'm the Director of Sales Engineering at New Relic here in Australia. But interesting enough, my connection with SE New York actually goes back to when I was working in New York with Akshat, one of the SE Nation co-founders. Me personally, I'm extremely passionate about the art and the science of sales engineering, as well as building a strong network of like-minded sales engineers. And so it's really no coincidence that I decided to reach out and partner with SE Nation to launch the SE in Sydney chapter. So really, really exciting stuff. So if you're in Sydney or you know somebody in Australia who would love to join us, let me know. There's a Slack channel link in the bottom. There's also a LinkedIn group that's going to be posted up very soon. So let them know. And by the way, if they're not in Sydney, let them reach out to me or our group anyways. We're really keen to expand and make sure that we maybe have representation in Melbourne and Brisbane coming soon as well. In the meantime, please join. Thank you very much for welcoming me into the SE Nation, and I'll get it back to you, Akshat. Thanks very much for having me.
Thank you so much, Mick. And lots of announcements. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Mick. And we're all here. We all will continue to do these events. We're really excited for where the future holds us. So just first things first, I hope everyone is part of the channel December 10 webinar. That's where a lot of live chat is going on. Also, we have Amazon gift cards today for best question asked to the panelists, most liked comment on the Slack channel, and most engaging Slack audience members. So with that, I can pass along to Marjorie. Marjorie?
Thanks, Akshat. Wow, super excited about all of these announcements. I got to say, a little bit about how I got connected with this community, and I was sitting there thinking about it as Nick was kicking off the SE Nation initiative. I remember I was actually flying from DC back home. I had a meeting in the DC area. I committed to Akshat, a person I had never met before, that I would show up to this panel to talk about career progression from a non-traditional background, right? So I didn't start off as an SE in my career journey. And one, my flight landed late. Two, I wasn't planning on taking public transportation. I was planning on driving in because my car was at the airport. And I got stuck in traffic. I couldn't find parking, and then I couldn't find the freaking building. And Akshat's like, "Are you planning on showing up?" I get this text from him, and I'm like, "Trust me, I'm really trying to get into this office building that I have no idea what I'm walking into." And then I walk into the warm arms of the SE New York community. I hadn't met anyone before. Akshat was super warm. The community from the Yext sponsors, they were the ones sponsoring us for that specific event, was fantastic. And I felt like I belonged from that moment. I felt it was super powerful to see so many people sitting in the room, anxious to hear from their peers in the industry a little bit about what it meant to be an SE, and really just create this connection with people that they can get to know and learn more from. And I gotta say, that's really the reason why I'm part of this community, and super excited to host the event today to talk about the power of the community. With that, I'd like to bring my panelists on to join me here. We've got with us some amazing members from the community who are going to share a little bit more about what the community's meant for them, how it's helped them through their career, and really what the power of networking has done. And I'll say the idea came when I was chatting with one of the members here that'll be joining us, Alexis, in a little bit. And we were just, talking about her career journey and how she's launching. And I'll let her share a little bit here, a little bit about her personal story. But, I was like, we should share this. We should talk more about how we as a community really help one another and how magical it can be. How about, we propose this panel and see what the guys think. And Akshat and team have been very, like I said, welcoming and said, we'd love to hear about, that a little bit more. Let's find some other folks that are willing to share their story as well. So with that, I welcome the panel and let's get started in introducing them. I don't think I see people's cameras, and I don't know if it's because there we go. Folks are starting to jump in. Fantastic. So let's get started. I'd love to get to know folks. I'd love for folks to get to know you, and hopefully we can all get to meet each other one day in person as well. So let's get started. Alexis, you want to share a little bit about your story, the impact of the community to you, and anything else that you wanted to just introduce yourself with?
Yeah, hi. So like Marjorie said, my name's Alexis Colon, and I'm actually a senior student at the College of New Jersey studying engineering management with a mechanical concentration. So I'm brand new to sales engineering, and I actually got introduced to the SE New York from a mentor that I had from TC&J. He thought this was a great Slack group. I can learn a lot about becoming a sales engineer. And like Marjorie was saying, it's a very warm, powerful group. Like, I just introduced myself, and several people from the group reached out to me, willing to give me advice, help me along the way. And overall, in the end, I ended up getting my first job right through this group. So it was a really exciting experience. And I'm really grateful that I was able to come across this experience overall.
Welcome, Alexis. Thank you. Sriram, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey?
Yeah, for sure. Good evening, everyone. It's really nice to meet you all today. So to tell you a little bit about my background, so my name is Sriram Nambiar. You can call me Shri. I'm a senior solution engineer at Salesforce based out of Bellevue, Washington. To tell you a little bit about my journey, I started off my career in technology, being a software developer, and 9 months into the job, I was fortunate to transition into a pre-sales role. And this experience was back in India. When I decided to come to the US to pursue my master's degree, that's when I faced with a lot of challenges because I wanted to take my pre-sales career to the next level, and I couldn't find any resources on the websites, or it was very difficult to find those that distilled knowledge that someone could provide me personally. So that's when I found out Sales Engineers of New York, and it has created a major impact in the second phase of my career, and helped me get my dream job at Salesforce. So, in terms of mentorship, in terms of giving some practical and tactical suggestions while I was going through the journey, that was really useful to me, and I'm really happy to be part of this community.
Thank you, Sriram. I'm super excited to have you here and looking forward to talking a little bit more about your journey. Praveen, share a little bit about your career journey. When did you hear first about the role, and also, how did you get into the current role that you're in?
Sure. Hello, everyone. Hi, hey, Marjorie. My name is Praveen Dandra. I'm a sales engineer with Dynatrace based out of Boston area. So before I made my way to US, I spent more than 7 years on the implementation side. And this is back home in India. And I wasn't really exposed to the pre-sales world. It was only in August of 2017, I came to US for my master's in MIS. And that's when I met Sriram, who just spoke, right? So he was the one who introduced me to the world of pre-sales. And all we did literally was just talk about sales engineering all the time. And the whole idea of sales engineering started resonating with me. The more and more we talked and discussed, aligned with my interest, my career aspirations. But unfortunately, this career path is not very well known in the student community. So very few talked about it. So that's when Sriram and we turned our heads towards the industry to learn more about the situation on the ground. And that's when, again, we came across SENY, the only SE community at the time. And last year, before I became SE for the first time, I was in Tampa, Florida, working for another company. And I traveled to New York to attend one of the SENY's event, the same event that Marjorie was referring to initially, and got a chance to meet and hang out with the entire SENY crew. So long story short, my life changed for good. I'm very happy with where I am, and I'm looking forward to more exciting time. Thank you.
That's awesome, Praveen. Actually, I remember seeing you and one of the guys mentioning, oh, these guys flew in from Florida just for this. And I'm like, wow, that's pretty amazing.
We became famous that day.
Yes. And another person that's famous from that day for me is Ed. You know, I think you were the first person who came up to me to introduce yourself. And when I talk about the warmth, that's what I'm talking about, right? People wanting to connect with one another. And he's like, hey, my name is Ed. And I'm like, wow, people are actually going to say hi. It was awesome. So Ed, tell us a little bit about yourself and your career journey, and you know what made you want to pursue an SE career?
Yeah, not a problem. Well, hello everyone. My name is Eddie Musa, and thanks for the kind words, Marjorie. I joined SENY in July of 2018, so it feels pretty good to be a 2-year veteran on this group. So, I initially joined this group because I was trying to transition from a business continuity professional to, the world of an SE. So from day one to, the present day, every last leader, Akshat, G, Eric, Sam, Owen, Marjorie, and then also JP, everybody has contributed to my success, whether it's Marjorie, excuse me, reviewing my resume and giving me pointers on LinkedIn, or even Sam just, helping to refine me so I'd be able to land my role. So, actually in April, I landed an opportunity as a customer solutions manager for AWS. So, I look forward to sharing more details about my journey throughout the conversation. Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks, Ed. And then finally, Lana, who's also a new person that I just met. Can't wait to hopefully meet you in person as well. Share a little bit with us about how you got to SENY, SE New York. There's so many variations of how we call it, but go for it.
You got it. Thanks, Marjorie. So my name is Lana. I'm an SC at Troops. I'm actually the first and only SC at Troops. I've been there at Troops for just over a year. And basically before becoming an SC, I was on the implementation side, just like Praveen. And I was at a company that was basically helping companies hire technologists. And one of the roles that came in my way once, out of curiosity, was a sales engineer. So sales, engineering, I come from an engineering background. I'm like, what is this? This piqued my curiosity. And I read it and I was like, hey, this is something really cool that's marrying both of my interests. So I wanted to find out more about it. And so I picked up the phone and an email. I sent it to the partner that was actually looking for a sales engineer. I was like, hey, tell me more about it. And he was very gracious to tell me more about it. And I started talking to more and more SCs and other companies that I didn't even know I was connected to through LinkedIn. And how I learned about SENY was through Sam Pena, a Pluralsight. He was one of my first clients at Troops, and he was really kind enough. One of the first few calls I've had with him, he said like, hey, there's this community that we're part of, you should totally join. And I joined, and the rest is history.
That's awesome. Well, welcome, Lana. Super excited to have you here. So let's talk a little bit about some of the networking pieces and how the power of networking helped you all. And Sriram, let's start with you. How did networking with prospective SEs, work for you prior to joining any SE communities?
Absolutely. I think it's a great topic to talk about. So as Praveen mentioned, when I was in school, Praveen and I, we were the only people out of a 500 student batch who would speak about pre-sales engineering. The rest of the conversations was mainly around cloud or business analytics, but there was no topic of discussion when it came to pre-sales engineering. So I found it very difficult to network with people. My only source of networking was LinkedIn. I would reach out to people cold, and sometimes I would get a response, sometimes I would not. Even if I speak to them, there's no real continuity. So we really needed a community at that point in time. So when I joined SENY, and at that time, I think there were some 15 people on the group, including Akshat, Owen, and all the founders, right? So we started speaking to each one of them and got a lot of inputs about the industry. So transitioning from doing pre-sales in India, Asia Pacific, and UK coming into US, I know there is a big cultural shift. There's a lot of finer nuances to how sales engineering happen in North America. So that's the kind of knowledge I wanted to gain more than the technology, because technology is something that can be taught and it can be learned with a set curriculum. But there is no set curriculum to learn, like pre-sale skills and sharpen it. And on a surface, you don't get to see all of that stuff. So for that, you need to create deep connections with people, understand, where they're coming from, build those personal connections and learn from them. So networking before SENY was limited to LinkedIn and some local events we used to attend. I know Cisco used to attend, host a lot of events in their office in Richardson. We used to go there with the hope of finding an SE and to get some networking going there. So those are the activities that I was doing in school. But after joining SENY, it just went to the next level. To give you an example, at every stage in my job and process, I had someone from SENY helping me. For example, I was applying to Salesforce left, right, and center because it was my dream job. But I would get rejected every single time through the portal, through the ATS, 19 times to be very precise with you. And then I found someone in SENY. I started speaking to a principal solution engineer. His name is Alberto Lelimo. He's based out of New York. I had a couple of interactions with him. He felt, I had the passion. I really loved Salesforce. So within 24 hours of that conversation, I got an interview call at Salesforce because he sent the resume straight to the recruiter in the SMB division. And then the whole process kick-started. And from there, it was all about, getting mentorship from Akshat, from Owen. Praveen was there. We were doing demo runs at midnight. So there was this whole community of people helping you to at various stages of getting a job or, like growing some skills.
That's fascinating. I think that's super powerful. The teaching you how to succeed in the interview. Sometimes only people internally will really know what are some of those nuances. And I love that they stayed with you till midnight. That's true commitment and true friendship that you built with the team here. I love hearing that. And Lana, I think you have also a story that's pretty unique as well in terms of how you were networking in the past with SEs prior to actually being part of the SE community.
Yeah, actually, I don't want to take Shriram's light away, but very similar to what his journey was. I actually had, I was living in Montreal and there was not a lot of like SC resources that I was able to find. The one thing I really honed in on was podcasts. So I found a lot of podcasts, and some people are tied to the SENY network, and I would, TMI here, but would work out and listen to podcasts and try to learn like what does it take in terms of like a skills perspective, in terms of like a technical, but also like personality wise, like what are SCs looking for? What is it in SC, right? And you have to always remember, right? Like if you get to the core of an SC, you need to be always, curious, resourceful, and take ownership in your career and your deals when you're helping. So I was really trying to like focus on those three criteria when I was developing myself as an SC. So I wasn't afraid to reach out to people, network with them on LinkedIn, once I got into the SENY network, I started, networking with different people through troops. Whenever I would actually meet someone who was part of an SC team and we wanted to help them, I would, just like Eric was one of the people that I networked here at Slack. I would help him. I would, the people that he introduced me to, I would, see how I could help them back as well, right? It's always important when you're given the time to like see how you can help back and give back to the community. And then the resources are unlimited. What's nice about the SC community is I have not met one SC who is not willing to give you time and help you. I mean, maybe I just got lucky, but it seems like everyone else had the same experience. And I'm just so glad that everyone's just, reinforcing what I've been through as well.
That's actually so true. I've experienced that myself earlier in my career. SCs were always willing to help and always willing to give you just suggestions on how to perfect even just, the standard, your elevator pitch, for example, right? Something as basic as an elevator pitch. And it's super powerful, right? For everyone that's on the line here, as you're thinking about establishing your network, don't hesitate to reach out. The worst thing that you're going to hear is no. But the really what you're going to lose out is you're not going to be able to find that person that's going to help you get to that next level. So like what Sriram and Lana were just sharing, feel free to reach out, right? LinkedIn, I think I've gotten several requests through the SENY community and had tons of conversations. Everyone's willing to do that. We want to help people get into the career. So love the story that Lana and Sriram shared. Praveen, as we talk about, mentorship and prep for career, similar to what Sriram and Lana shared a little bit, what was the role that they played, right? A mentor, a friend, or even a family member that might be encouraging you to move into an SC role? What was their role in your preparation?
So when I was making this transition, the most challenging thing for me was to overcome this aspect of building an SC mindset. And I would say only with the help of coach and a mentor, I was able to overcome that. And in the first place, how did I realize that? How did I find out the root cause? No surprises there. That was the common feedback I got in the countless interview rejections I had. The engineer in me dominated so much that I was just losing out on the bigger picture. And I just needed to zoom out a little bit, use a wider lens to sort of see the business value behind what was going on, and sort of turn the focus towards customers, right? And like I mentioned, I had implementation background. And some of you might face this when you're making similar transition. And that is where coach mentors come into play. And like I mentioned, I had Sriram's back and all the time. And then when I met Akshat, he played an important role in helping me accomplish this transition. I spent a lot of time with Sriram to make sure I was making progress in the right direction. Glad he was not as busy as he is right now. But unfortunately, building mindset is like building abs. I don't have abs, but like in general muscles. This is not an overnight business, right? And you might not see the results immediately. It takes its own sweet time and efforts, and when the needle moves, you'll know.
I agree on it takes its own sweet time for sure. So thanks for sharing that, Praveen. And Eddie, I think you also had shared, as we were talking about your career progression, some of the mentors that you had worked with, as well as kind of the prep for your interview process. Tell us a little bit about, your journey with your mentor and what was their role in the process.
Yeah, not a problem. Well, my journey actually started in March of 2018, and it happened because I ran into one of my former colleagues, and he happened to be a SE working for Hitachi, and he spoke about how much he loved it. And he put me in touch with a number of other SEs. So I spoke to a SE from Dell, spoke to a SE from Salesforce, and a couple other places. And it got to the place where I faced, paralysis by analysis, because everyone was telling me to do this, do that, and the third. So eventually, I went online and I went to meetup.com and I learned about, SENY. And, I went to the first meeting in July of 2018, and that's where I ran into, Owen and all the leaders. And I knew I was in the right place because when Owen was on the panel, he used the Notorious B.I.G. Lyric. And when he said that, I just bust out laughing. I said, you know what, this guy's kind of cool. I think I'm going to connect with him. So from there, I exchanged information with Owen, with Eric, with pretty much everyone across the board. So Eric was extremely helpful from day one. He made time for me. He reviewed my resume. Sam took me out to lunch, and thank you again for lunch, Sam. Appreciate you. He took me out and just spoke to me and said, you know what, this is going to be a journey. You really have to put your head down and, really understand where you want to go. And even while you're going through the process, don't get discouraged. So funny enough, Owen was working at Salesforce, and he suggested that I apply for a couple positions at Salesforce. So unlike Sriram, I only applied for 3 jobs and I got rejected 3 times. So your 18 and my 3 is, big difference. But nonetheless, I think life is really about relationships and timing. So thankfully for Owen, he just, encouraged me, said that, just continue to refine yourself, continue to use these resources, look at this. And, also Marjorie, you did a great job of helping me to know that my LinkedIn page and then also my resume were top notch. And then eventually I saw opportunity at AWS and I applied for it. So I'm not really a SE, I'm a CSM, but nonetheless, I'm still glad to be here. And, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for this team.
Yeah, I mean, it's still customer facing, right? So all in the family, in my opinion, at the end of the day. I think it's so powerful that you talk about the kind of the beginning to the journey to where you are today. It's not an overnight thing, right? And
Exactly.
Praveen touched on this as well. It takes time, and I think that's one of the things that we'd like the folks in the community that are seeking kind of to make that role change recognize that it is going to take multiple contacts, multiple engagements, but the community's there to support you and there to really get you to that next level. And
Exactly.
super powerful story from what we're hearing. Thanks for sharing that, Eddie. So let's talk a little bit about SENY, as I like to call it. Let's talk a little bit about the community itself. And, Alexis, you touched on this a little bit, but tell us a little bit more. You're new in your career, which is the most exciting part of this, that you already at such a young age have managed to connect into the community. Tell us a little bit more about how you heard about SENY and really what made you want to join this community.
Yeah, sure. So like I said before, I kind of ran across SENY from my mentor from TC&J. I was telling him that I wanted to become like a project manager or a PM, and he was kind of like, he thought I'd be a better fit for become a sales engineer. He thought it'd be a better career path for me, do my personality, and just like my aspirations. So he recommended this group, and I was like, what is SENY? He was like, Sales Engineers in New York. And I was like, I've never heard of this. So he was like, no, it's a great platform. You can network, get mentored, find out more information, see what you like. That's exactly what I did. I joined, I introduced myself, and I got tons of replies within a couple minutes. And I was able to network through there, figure out what I like to know about it, what I like to know about being an SE, what I didn't like. And through that, I was able to figure it out. I think I'll like being an SE, and school like my dream job for sure.
I'll tell you, and I've shared this with a couple of folks around career journey. I went in kicking and screaming into the SE role, but I'll say it's going to be your dream job. You're going to love it. It's a ton of fun. So welcome to VMware. We're excited to have Alexis join us here at VMware as part of our Academy program, and hopefully we'll see where your journey takes you in the future as an awesome SE. So let's talk a little bit about the magic sauce of the mentor, right? So Shriram, you talked a little bit about your the mentor journey and the relationship that you had. Tell us about who your mentor was and really what did that person do to make that magic happen?
Absolutely. So my mentor was Owen, and he was kind enough to take me through to a lot of important what do I say? A lot of aspects of sales engineering. So when I got my first call at Salesforce for the sales engineering interview, I called Akshat, and Akshat said, you have to talk to Owen, and then hopefully you guys can have some session together. So when I started speaking with Owen, it was not just about this is what you do in the SaaS space, this is how you demo, or this is some the surface level things. Owen took me through the complete process. I had never implemented CRM in my life, so the whole concept of CRM and Salesforce ecosystem, it was new to me, and I was trying to learn through the learning platforms and things like that. So we spent a lot of time understanding the space. What kind of challenges do customers face? What does it mean to sell SaaS solutions and things like that? So that overall 360-degree view of the industry first. And then we got into a more tactical discussion wherein, how do you demo? What are some of the techniques that you can use and things like that? So it was a very holistic approach that we took towards this process of Salesforce. And the Salesforce interviews are long. It takes 4 or 5 rounds of interviews to get to the final stage. So at every stage, Owen was there. I could just give him a call, ask a couple of quick questions. He had a very busy schedule at that point because he had just joined AWS, but he was kind enough to do that. So that was the secret sauce for me, having someone in the community whom I can talk to at any point and ask some of the questions and get it answered. That's more important than like reading books or just practicing demo dry runs with friends or family. Someone who's in the industry, who's done it. If he can give you feedback, that's the best thing that you can get. And similarly, Akshat, he played a major role because I could call him anytime and he would give me some good advice. Praveen was there. I did some 10 or 15 dry runs with Praveen. He would listen to me patiently every single time because even though he doesn't care much about sales, about CRM, he's an APM specialist. But he was there listening to it, giving me feedback every single time to refine that demo and give my best presentation in front of the panel. So that's how, 3 people helped me get my dream job. And also special mention to Alberto, because he's the one who sent my resume to the recruiter and also gave me some advice on how do you attack an SMB space versus a mid-market versus an enterprise? Every section would require different kinds of skills and mindset in front of customers. So that was my mentorship journey at SENY.
That's awesome. And, I like how the people that you worked with weren't all part of Salesforce, right? So they didn't all understand CRM. And I think that's the other thing that people need to understand is that with the SE role, a lot of it is about, the capabilities of being able to talk to the person in front of you and have them understand what you're trying to say in the simplest form. And, it's great to see that you were able to do that with several folks within the community that weren't part of, Salesforce. Alexis, you're just starting your career journey. So for you, I think, mentorship is so much more important because you still don't even know what's right from wrong, what am I doing and all this. So tell us a little bit about, that magic sauce between your relationship with your mentor and how it helped you.
Yeah, so my initial mentor was Smitsa, and then he kind of steered me in the right way, the right guidance. And I was able to run into Derek Young, who was my mentor. So he kind of helped me figure out like who exactly, like what kind of company I want to work for, tips and tricks to figure out like what makes a good sales engineer, like listening to your customers, some advice he gave, like trying to demonstrate. He said, we're basically solution engineers. Like we're trying to solve their problem. Like, how can this work for you? And he just kind of gave me a lot of more information that I needed to see if I would like sales engineers. And he also kind of calmed me down because I was like freaking out. I was like, I don't know, like you just said, like I'm new, like I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I don't know right from wrong. And he was really there to like really guide me in the right direction and really help me along the way. But I also want to give a shout out to everybody a part of SENY, like you yourself, Marjorie, you also helped me as well. I remember calling you and we had a really nice chat. You told me all about VMware and the great academy program they had. I didn't even know they had special programs like this. And without that, I would have stumbled across this great position that I am in. And then you also did help me throughout the whole process. But just special shout out to you and everybody part of this group, because you guys were all really, really welcoming and warm. And like I said, I'm just new, but you guys really were really nice about everything. And I feel really welcomed and a part of this community for sure.
That's awesome. And really great to hear, again, for folks that are joining us that might be new in career, reach out to someone within the community, right? Look people up. You see everyone that's in the chat, within Slack, send out a message, blast it out. Hey, I'm new to this role or new to this career. I want to hear more. And I've seen that actually happen quite often. And tons of people jump in and say, I'm here to help you. Lana, share a little bit about who your mentor was and what that magic relationship was.
Yeah, absolutely. So my mentor has been Sam Pena. I mentioned it right before. So Sam, it was pretty interesting getting Sam as a mentor because I was getting not only an experienced SC, but I was also getting NSC advice from a VP level perspective. So Sam really opened up my eyes, right? It's my first role as an SC. As I mentioned, I'm the only one, I'm the only SC at Troops. So I work part of the sales team, and although that exposed me to a lot of great things on the sales side, sales process, and I work with a great team, Sam was really there to help me like understand like and know what I don't know, right? So in terms of like piloting, right, what it takes to like deliver a great pilot, how to demo, how to improve my demoing, my pitch, my presentation skills, how to make things more personable. After the first time I demoed Sam, and that was like the opening, like that was like the beginning of our relationship as like mentor and mentee. He said, hey, Lana, like it was a great demo, but do you want to get some feedback? And I jumped to the opportunity. Of course, like someone like Sam want to give me some feedback, I'll take it in, right? So, and basically, I was talking about like the VP perspective, like demoing, piloting, things to think about as an SC, as I would want to grow the SC team at Troops, right? So like, how do you do like resource allocation? How do you do like resource planning? Things I've never thought about, like, why should I, right? But like Sam started instilling those thoughts and, mindset in me so I can actually start thinking broader than what I was doing day to day. And then in terms of like a professional, like career growth path, it's always like challenging me with questions like, okay, what kind of SC do you want to become, right? So I didn't know that there's different kinds of SCs. So one of his questions that was very enlightening to me was, what kind of SC do you want to be? Do you want to be a really technical SC, or are you the type of person that want to spearhead like SC methodologies and processes, like really learn this, and become a master in this, regardless of the industry that you're in as an SC, and then take it somewhere else and start rolling it out, right? So like share your knowledge. And that was really, humbling to me. I was like, I never thought about it. I thought like I wanted to do both, and I wanted to stretch myself thin. And having someone like Sam, who's done it before, and who's had like an amazing career, and he's had like good experiences, bad experiences, he can always speak to these, and it makes it more relatable, right? It's not as overwhelming as it is if you're doing it on your own.
Yeah, 100%. I think Sam definitely is a good person to have. He's very very level-headed too, right, when he's talking to you, so you feel very at ease. So it's great. It's great to have Sam as a person to talk to. And you kind of talked a little bit about the enlightening conversation and how that helped you getting into your new role. So thanks for sharing that. Before we go into the questions from the audience, because there's a lot and there's some really cool ones that I'm seeing here, I wanted to ask you all to share a little bit about what's your advice for a person who's aspiring to be an SC in the future. So Praveen, would you like to share what's your advice?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first and very, very important one is, like you said, do not hesitate to reach out to people, right? And also to follow up. There is a thin line between irritating and following up. So just maintain that. As long as you're in the boundaries, it's fine. And don't be afraid of rejections. Like, I have a database of rejections, and try and use the feedback from those rejections and fill those gaps. Work with your mentors again on filling those gaps. It has helped me big time. And also do a thorough research of the company. Even when you network with SENY people or anyone else, look about them, read about them, and read about their company, what they are doing. This will only help you make meaningful conversations, ask meaningful questions. That will take you a long way. And again, applying the whole SC mindset I was talking about, right? The bigger picture in my life, at least, is the life itself has changed for good. It is beyond career and profession. If I like what I'm doing, I will naturally be more happy and contented, right? And it contributes in a big way in not just for me and for my family as well. And always think about giving the same to mentees as well. I mean, in future, just pass it on. So
That's fantastic.
Biggest advice.
That's awesome. And I think a lot of good pointers there. So hopefully folks are taking notes here on this one. And we'll come back to this rejection one. I want to circle back at the end on that one. But Sriram, what's your advice for aspiring and future SEs?
Absolutely. So my first advice is for people who are in their career, let's say 2 or 3 years into the IT job, and they want to transition to a sales engineering job. I think the first step is to pick a space that you like. Pick a product. It can be CRM, it can be cloud, it can be cybersecurity. Collaboration is hot at this point. Pick a space, understand the space, think about it from a business standpoint, not from a technology standpoint, because when you join the company, they'll teach you their technology. Once you identify that, let's say you like a company and you're really passionate about it, and then try to understand more about the company, as Praveen mentioned. Do your research. That helps a lot. And the second thing is, don't hesitate to reach out. As again, it's a very important aspect. If you look at any SC role, one fundamental aspect of an SC role is building relationships. First, building relationship with your customers, building that trust with your sales teams, talking to engineering, talking to product marketing and things like that. So at every stage, you're going to build relationships with people. Why not start with that when you're actually looking to become an SC? So that's going to be a major thing. Don't hesitate to reach out, talk to people, have a full-time mentor or a coach, and then reiterate, have multiple iterations of your demos and things like that, and try to make those changes. That's going to help a long way. And for students, I would say, if you're graduating, take a look at the sales engineering job. There are at least 20 or 25 companies, a list that I can provide, who would run an academy program. There are some big companies out there who are willing to hire SCs, train them for 6 months, and launch your SC career. So please take a look at those opportunities out there.
Yeah, these academy programs, they're starting to come up everywhere. I'm seeing them at so many different companies and gotten calls from several leaders from different organizations similar size to VMware that are looking to start these initiatives. So check them out. They're normally called like new grad programs or academy programs as well. Each company has their own unique name, but I think that's some great advice there, Sriram.
And one more thing, I want to reiterate this. I spoke about the space or the product that you want to choose, right? I truly believe that in sales, it's 90% conviction and 10% communication and persuasion. So if you really like a product, you'll become a great SE, because when you go in front of the customer, you're really passionate and it's going to go out there and the customer is going to feel good about it. Versus, just picking up a random space and then trying to become a good SE. If we can have that clarity at the beginning, that'll work wonders.
Yeah, fantastic advice. Eddie, tell us a little bit about what your advice is for anyone that's entering any customer-facing role.
Not a problem. Well, Praveen and Sriram, they highlighted so many things, so I'll keep it simple and short. The two things that I would say you have to be very mindful of are relationships and timing. And when I say relationships, as I mentioned before, every leader in SENY has contributed to me getting to where I am. And as I mentioned before, with timing is everything, because I started this journey in March of 2018 and I didn't get my job offer until March of 2020. So along the line, I reworked my resume at least 10 times. I was turned down from at least 50 jobs because a lot of people didn't want to take a chance on a first time SE. I came to every SENY event, every last one, and all the leaders could tell you as well. So you just have to put in the work and not be afraid to try something new. And even though this kind of conflicts with what Sriram said, I wasn't totally sure about what avenue I wanted to go down. At first, I thought I wanted to do cybersecurity. Then I thought about big data. And eventually, I found myself at AWS dealing with cloud computing. So my suggestion is that, keep your funnel wide open and speak to whoever you come in contact with. And you never know, but in line with what Sriram said, if you like what you do, then it's going to be great, because working at AWS, to be honest, it's demanding. It's very demanding. So if you don't enjoy what you do, it'll be very difficult. But nonetheless, stay patient, keep working hard, and also be tactfully aggressive, where similar to what Praveen said, you have to send emails and realize that everybody's busy. Everyone's putting in long hours, so they might have just missed your email. So please follow up and say, I'm not sure if you had a chance to read this email, but I'd love to meet with you for 30 minutes and just learn more about what you do and see if I could be, add value to your day somehow, some way. So, just stay patient, continue to push forward, and soon enough, you have a great community here, and we're all willing to help out.
That's awesome, Eddie. And by the way, on that, regarding the reaching out, once the person says yes to mentoring you or coaching you, the rest is on you, right? Don't expect that person to call you. Don't expect them to schedule the time. It is your responsibility to make sure that you're reaching out to that individual. They've committed to you, so keep them accountable.
That is correct.
Love that advice from the three of you so far. Lana, how about you? What's your closing advice here for aspiring SEs?
Yeah, I would say definitely find why you want to become an SE. It sounds very, I feel like the title alone actually sounds really impressive and cool, but find out why you really want to become an SE. Is it for you? Where do you want to become an SE? So what kind of industry, what kind of company do you want to work at? And to me, an SE, it's so fruitful because you're not only helping your team win deals and the company win deals, but you're also really helping the client, solve business blockers. So it's, if this is not for you, if you're not going to go through the hassle and really be your customer's champion, it might not be for you. Maybe you want to do something very similar, but in a different role. So find out really if it's meant for you, if it's really what you want to do, because it's a lot of work, but the rewards are just like tremendous. So you put in a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun too. So
work hard, play hard is
exactly.
The motto.
I didn't want to use it, but
it's the truth, right? I mean, that is the reality of it. Well, on my behalf, I want to thank you all for such a fascinating conversation. Every time I talk to anyone from the community, I always leave so empowered and excited about what the future holds. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Akshat. We've got a ton of questions from the community. I got to say some really good ones, so be prepared. And I think Lana, you had that firing mask, that you were going to get ready. No, I'm just kidding. And also be prepared for the lightning round questions, which are always difficult, but just answer with your gut. All right. So Akshat, I'm handing over to you to take it over from here.
So thank you, everyone. This is going great. Thank you for amazing insights. A lot of buzz is happening on our Slack, live Slack channel. First question is by Palak. Most important skill lesson that you learned from SE interview rejections? Or what is your best advice for people looking to break into the SE field? What have you learned from rejections? Maybe one or two people can take it. Thank you.
I can take about the rejections. Like I mentioned that I have a database of rejections, right? So preparing for SE thing itself, I see it like a project. And I've heard Marjorie speak about these transformational projects, right? That she's done in the organizations. I would say preparing for sales engineers or a SE breakthrough is nothing less from one of those initiatives, but more on a personal level. So where you yourself are responsible, you yourself are accountable for what you're doing, and you obviously consult with your mentors, your fellow coaches, and all the community members as well. And the end result is really your transformation into sales engineering, right? But how do you measure the progress? Apart from the feedback you're getting from your mentor, the best way to measure progress are those rejections. Because when I interviewed initially, first round out, second round out, and then slowly I made it to the sales round. And then I knew that, okay, sales is not my background and there is so much work needs to be done there. And then I started preparing on that. Slowly I found out I was able to make conversations to the sales leadership as well, because that's one of the most important aspect when you're looking at SE career, right? So slowly I started realizing, okay, I'm making progress. I'm able to make meaningful conversations, but still I'm getting rejections. Okay, there are now only these gaps that are left. And then slowly you get that validation from the rejections and build on that. That's the best way I can put it.
Yeah. Well, if I could add one thing, the one thing I would say is that the one takeaway is don't take it personal. It's part of the process, So just going back to my example of Salesforce, I interviewed 3 times, and each time I made it to, like the second round, and something happened. There was a reorg or something occurred. Even when I was working to update my resume, somebody stole money from me, so the person I was working with, she just disappeared and took my money. She took my money. In addition to that, you're just going to meet so many roadblocks, but that's just part of the process. So in essence, what you're trying to do is find the lock that your key works on. So once you find that lock and it opens up, it seems as if you have a master key and it works on everything, because I'm pretty sure everyone on this panel now feels confident. Even Alexis, I know you're not an SE just yet, but I know you're almost there. But, once you go through that process, you get so much confidence that it doesn't matter what position you interview for afterwards. You just know what it takes to be there, and everything falls in place.
Thank you, Ed. That was great. We have another question. And so we have a lot of questions. It's hard to find which one to ask. So this one is from Ali Sobol, and this is a really interesting question. What is your advice as a new SE working with account executives? Thanks,
I can
Ali.
take that one. So I think one of the major aspects of pre-sales engineering is that AE-SE relationship. It's a very important concept because, you only win a deal if the AE and SE are on the same page and they put in equal amount of efforts. And if that partnership is good, there are good chances of winning that deal. So my suggestion to you is that when you start off, try to build that rapport with the sales team at the beginning. Understand, where they're coming from. Sales is a very difficult role. So having that game plan early on when you join a company, to understand, their priorities, cultivating a good working relationship, and then being flexible at the beginning. If you're more flexible, that relationship is more solid, and then it's all about execution from there.
That's wonderful. Anyone else wants to add anything on AEs, especially as a new
I'll chime in. Yeah, I'll chime in. So I think the first thing is that try to figure out if they have experience working with SEs. If you're a new SE yourself, then try to learn from them, like what worked well, what didn't work well. The other thing I would also say is sometimes it's challenging, right? Sometimes you'll have like AEs that have a great process, you work with them seamlessly, others not so much, and it's fine, right? It's about creating this like great dynamic, because the bottom line is that you're both there to win deals, right? So I would say if you identify like some gaps, some issues that you can, help that specific AE actually improve, you can, have this conversation with your AE. Have it as such as like, hey, Mr. or Mrs. AE, how do you think it's going? How do you think our deals are going? Like, how can I help you? Because, I want to make sure to help you so I can help the deal progress forward. And the AE may not even be aware that there's any issues right from their end. So take that approach, that friendly approach, that like mentoring almost the AE, right? Like holding their hand and helping them improve. Because if they improve and you have a better working environment, then you guys are going to likely close more deals. And last but not least, it's like, just have fun. Like I always say, like have fun with, your AE and try to make it like personable as much as you can, right? It's still work. And then another thing that you can do is like always like show what does success look like with other AEs, so that the AE can also learn from you and the other AEs.
That's a great answer. Thanks, Lana. We have one question that from a person, Charlie Blank. Charlie, thanks for joining the webinar. He says, I'm an early in career SE with moderate technical background, political science major, but he interned at AWS, and he's wondering what are the best educational resources for building a wide range of technical skills, certifications, and so forth. In general, any advice from what that worked for you guys that you want to share with people in college right now?
I can take that. So certifications for me have been a very important resource, like a validation point that, okay, I know some basic stuff, and it has worked well for me in many of my interviews. So it's just that when you run into competition, right, when you have people who have performed really well in the interviews, similar level, and it is becoming difficult for the panel to decide on who's the best. That is when these little things play an important role. Having those badges behind you will just state the fact that you're continuously learning, and those obviously carry good credentials and definitely put them to use.
Yeah, I would say one good certification you could get is your project management certification, your PMP, even though it's not it's not, I guess, cloud computing or what have you type of certification. The good thing about that is that no matter what job you fall into, you need to learn how to manage a project or manage an initiative from beginning to end. So when you pick up more accounts, you have to make sure that you are consistently meeting deadlines, meeting timelines, directing people appropriately to make sure that everything is flowing smoothly. So, definitely look into getting your PMP. Besides that, since I'm in the cloud computing world and, I favor AWS, get your AWS certifications. That could be very helpful. And, just keep an open mind and just continue to read, and, things will fall in place.
And like Lana, make sure to bring your wonderful puppy to the conversation. But by the way, that
He's always help.
Oh, go ahead,
Marjorie, that's all.
by the way, the PMP comment, Ed, fantastic. I got to tell you, the best SEs that I have worked with have had some type of project management experience in their careers because they can organize things, they can keep the customer on track. So fantastic advice, by the way, on that one. So this is going to be the fun round. I'm here to do the lightning round. So I'm just going to go at random. I'm going to start with whoever I see first, and then all of you will have to answer the same question. You have only 10 seconds to think about your answer, and you need to respond quickly. No, I'm just kidding, but still don't take too long. All right, the first question is, what did you buy for Black Friday or Cyber Monday? Sriram.
iPhone 12.
iPhone 12, that's a good buy there. Praveen.
I bought a stabilizer for my video shooting. I've started a new Instagram channel, so it helps a lot.
Oh, you're gonna have to share what that Instagram channel is. Maybe we'll all learn something new.
Sure.
Awesome, Alexis.
I bought a ton of stuff, but I bought these AirPods I really like, and a ton of clothes, and definitely a good time.
Awesome. Yes, good earpods, super important. I don't know if I like the new Air Max, whatever Pro they're called. They just look awful.
Yeah, I like the older ones as well. I didn't get the new ones.
Eddie.
I honestly just bought some new shoes and a new outfit because I'm waiting for us to go back outside, after COVID, gives us some peace and, then we can all have fun. How about that?
And also for you to show up here at this meeting because you're looking very snazzy. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Lana, what did you buy for Friday or Cyber Monday?
I got socks.
You know what? In the cold, you need them. That's a very
I got a lot of
question.
socks.
That's awesome. All right. I know some of us were talking about time off earlier before we kicked off the call, and I'm sure we'll have plenty of time. What Netflix show or Hulu or whatever system you watch from do you plan on watching during the holiday break? Praveen, let's start with you.
So I've just started watching a series called Scorpion. It's about the story of Walter O'Brien, not really story, but inspired on the guy who had 197 IQ. So I'm going to finish that during the holidays.
Nice, nice. You're making me feel bad for my choices. Eddie.
See, I'm a little corny, so I'm going to watch Jiggle Jangle, that Christmas, new feature that they have. But I'm more of a basketball fan, so I'm just trying to watch the Lakers, play on Christmas Day. So,
will they play is the question.
Oh
They
yeah,
just need to make sure they stay in their bubble.
Yeah, right.
Lana, what about you?
Great British baking show, guys. I'm an avid cook, and I'd love to. I usually replicate one of the challenges that the bakers do during downtime. So I'll make sure to post a picture.
Yeah, we'll want to see. We'll want to see. How about you, Sriram?
I've heard some really good things about Queen's Gambit. I'm a huge chess fan, so I'm gonna start watching that. That's the plan.
That's awesome. How about you, Alexis?
I just watched The Queen's Gambit, actually, phenomenal show. Definitely 10 out of 10 recommend. But I plan on watching The Office. I've never actually watched it before. It's a really big commitment, but I have a really long winter break, so I was like, might as well watch it. Got nothing better to do.
Now that I rewatch like the reruns on TV, I always think like, how did I find some of those jokes funny back then? Like now I'm like, oh my God, they're so not politically correct. So be prepared to be shocked.
I'm excited.
All right, let's start with the next one. This one's always hard for me. I've been asked this one, I don't like it. What's your favorite app on your phone? Eddie, let's start with you.
I think Google Maps is the most amazing app ever because I like to drive around and catch up with my friends. So yeah, that's it.
Awesome. How about you, Lana?
Street Easy. I love helping people find new homes and knowing what's in the market.
Nice. What about you, Sriram?
Right now, my favorite app is Slack.
Slack.
And I'm sure Eric would appreciate that.
And I'm sure your employers would appreciate that too.
we finally get to work on Slack, so it's fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. Praveen.
So it's a couple of them actually. One is Instagram, and there's another app called Quora, just a question answer one.
Yeah, I always wonder if their answers are correct. I always doubt their answers, but
I like the stories.
Yeah.
Experiences, yeah.
Alexis, what's your favorite app these days? Don't tell us TikTok, please.
All right, never mind then.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I really do like TikTok. I know, it's fun, and I also really like Instagram and Snapchat. I would say it's a three-way tie.
Nice. Now I feel bad. All right, let's ask you the final question, and then we'll hand it back to the guys. And this one, I know I've thought of a million places, so hopefully you all already know this, but what's the first place you're going to visit when the quarantine ends? Sriram.
New York for sure. I meet you guys.
New York. Yes. Let's do it. Praveen.
India.
India. Oh, yeah. That would be really nice. I'd like to do that. Alexis.
I'm going to try and visit Austin, Texas, because I'm going to move there for my job. So I want to see it sometime soon.
Love it. Yes, you'll love it. Tons of great food there. Lots of stuff to do. Eddie.
I have two places. Either want to go to Sierra Leone, West Africa, because that's where my family's from. And if not that, I'll go to Dubai just to have fun. Yeah.
Nice. These. I mean, my quarantine visit definitely did not entail anything as fun as that. But Lana, what about you?
What was yours, Marjorie?
I just said the diner. I've literally not been anywhere for the past 9 months. So I just want to go out anywhere.
Got it. Mine would be Europe. I had a 10-year anniversary trip planned with my husband, and that got postponed. So hopefully we get to do that.
Well, hopefully you will get to enjoy your postponed 10-year anniversary. Congratulations. All right, with that, I'm going to hand it back to Akshat to close us out and hopefully announce our winners. So thank you all again for a fantastic conversation.
All right, so this is going to be tough because I don't really have winners. So the first one, I'm gonna lean on you guys. What was the best question? Does anyone want to pick a best question, and the winner gets an Amazon gift card?
What did you learn from the rejections, maybe?
I can go with that.
I'm good with that as well. That was a good one.
All right, so that's Palak. Palak, congratulations, you win that. And the question with the most likes, that goes to Charlie. You have 7 replies. That was a good question. Charlie Blank, you're the winner for that. Congratulations. And the third winner should be the person who received the most likes, most engaging audience member. So I'm gonna ask my team here, Sam, Owen, Eric, who gets this one? Most engaging, who's been the most engaging? Nick, everyone is so engaging. This is hard to pick. All right, so no, nothing. Okay, I'm just scrolling down. So let's
wait. I realized I was on mute, Akshat. Our Slack is on fire today, but you know what? Somebody made me laugh really hilarious in one of the comment threads. So I'm going to give it to Pam Dunn from Contentful.
Awesome, Pam. Congratulations. So that's it from us. We want to wish you a happy holidays, 6:45 p.m. on the dot. Thank you, Marjorie. Thank you, the panelists. And thanks to Nick, Mick, everyone else. 2021, we're looking forward to SE Nation and SENY, Toronto, DC, Boston, Sydney, all of us having actual events, local events, as well as the online for SE Nation. So thank you, everyone. Happy holidays, happy new year, and see you all in the next year. Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.